On the last day of summer vacation, the Tibetan herder Woser Dawa in the Indian-controlled Kashmir region took his eldest son up the mountain to tend to a herd of goats. Tomorrow, the children will return to boarding school. There is not much family time left. Choglamsar is located at the border of China and India at an altitude of 3,500 meters. The Indus River flows from the south of the village. The grassland on the south bank of the Indus River is an ideal summer pasture. But after Woser Dawa arrives here, he continues to lead his herd further up the mountain. If we pull the camera lens up and out, we can see a long, low wall on the open grassland.
The local Indians built this wall. And it's to keep people from getting in. I must say, it's to keep the Tibetan people from getting in. You can clearly see the difference. You know, it's highly vegetated where the protected places, and it's very dry outside. There's nothing there, it's just a mountain. They just get a rock or they just get a stone, and they make a sign, nothing there to prove that that's his land. But if the Tibetan people doesn't obey that, then they get in trouble.
The day at Woser Dawa's home begins with milking the goats. The couple works together as one blocks the opening of the pen from the goats that are not producing milk, and the other uses his experienced eye to spot the goats that are. Then the wife Doma uses wool ropes to tie dozens of goats together. This technique has been used by Tibetans for centuries. But the couple does not intend to pass the skill on to their 3 sons. Today is the first day of school. Sering Dolma takes out the new shoes for the children. She helps the youngest put on his shoes. In a few minutes, the 3 sons will return to their boarding school in the city of Leh. The family won't be reunited again until winter vacation, which is a few months away. Indian-controlled Kashmir is the largest pasture for exiled Tibetans. Woser Dawa and Sering Dolma are second-generation exiled Tibetans born here. As more and more herders choose to settle down in the city, the couple is also starting to feel that the nomadic lifestyle may be unsustainable.
Tanda di cholan sa di phai chi ta raluk tong bet koran ta chi tu thama de lapta som raluk to gai me pala pala ani ta di to ma tu tende de tong hia jo dang.
Amala ba so.
다 dropa de me sayare. 다 lo to raksa mare.
아니 부정은 신유 댕두 신유 와. 댕두 신유 여와디 장당라 이게 갈수 없다. 배제 땅 모두 봐. 야나 인터넷 단지 여러 번. 디주 장당은 여 말이. 가실라 폰 단다에 두고 말이. 폰 여 말이. 팀부 선서 내가 데리지 가나 아주 롭종 유니 그 미디 안지 갈수 없다. 다 갈래갈래지 로바디 갈수 없다. 뇽도 아주 그 로잡세 내면도다 리중 단디주 개침벌 선선디
North of Choglumsar is the city of Leh. 70% of Tibetan exiles in Indian-controlled Kashmir live in Sonam Ling, the Tibetan resettlement area in the south of Leh. There are about 5,000 of them. In over half a century, 12 refugee camps have been built here. The earliest camp number 1 was built in the early 1960s. Nawang Tenzin, who originally lived in Anjari prefecture of Tibet, herded hundreds of cattle and goats to Kashmir, but was forced to end his nomadic herding life 5 years later and moved to Leh.
겜라.
디바도 장다테레 라마야레 디투스로 라마요라 독장고라 디테레 디 은하를 남아사만 카 남다 사만 카바리 세소리 사무시스레 라마 내가도 지 작다면 디 자바는 미쳐서 되는
이 독보 지두기 좋아하게다 줘라.
알아
더 단단히 좋아하게다 줘라.
알아
거기 야가 두스.
독바도 가야 돼 독바 심전 진행을 하서는 파 나도 손공도 야 내가요만
대 내가 가르치기도.
다들 내가 사진 동영상에서 살레 돌려야지 그래. 사 도와지 꼬꼬레 사 꼬꼬레 도와지 받지 그래 양치 땅 그래 지고 내가
어머들라 가디
아,
가디 변에 막 가디래.
그 설레미도.
맞아 변에 말래니 봐.
예.
당부 이게 똑바로
네.
이 말래라.
그래.
뒤에 캠델 시차래.
네.
내 디겜도 가시자.
아니 로쇼쇼가 내가 가르치.
아마도 그래.
야,
룩지.
룩짓다고. 진짜 내가 그래. 다 룩이 찍게매 시치도 된다데. 예지.
또 단다디 변쇼네 잡소라고 주라고 그래.
나는 나가만
아무라라고 그래.
아마나라고.
라고 말해.
내가 나도 라갈레 소개로와. 내가 라요 말이. 다 단다 라갈레 메로 와지 가면 따뜻해요 말.
Paldin Dorji's family were originally herders from Tibet. He now runs a small business in the Tibetan market in the city of Leh.
다 디딩 안저 체 내가 안저 아우체 디딩에 보고였다 보고장 안저 통바시 안저 통바시제로 따라루 견도메 당한 상마도메는 페제로루 아 계계구제셔래 계계구제 야 얘기했으죠래 아다 십주스 어디리셔 nge tingilo ni hire ta gunga phi nam shi thang che ani ngan zu phel chayo ne shi kyagal sanjam de dandala da chayo maro chada chi komba shi yore andi ne kang shi jab ani ngan zu lungbale di lungbale thanga yore tene sanjam ra lu ni nyong lore nyong ro chan thama de la chame cha zore no da ta igin ma ra lu simje zo sa den ma yong ro an danda ngan zu da ki majene digo marwa lega changa jung chegul an den support par de nyedi gang charbe gang de chala changa chung de na chong de odin tenglu
di ba somzan ta ngazu yu rogba ki lelen nebyo che di shuk chen bu cha dar 강에 서울다 그거는 로바디 그런 지 이내야 아니 지 그 다 규제 디나네 다 될 로바님 하도 규제 조디 남시 장무여와 남시 장무를 빠베기 튼제메와 디 중생직
How to make a living is not a problem confined to lay, but an issue all Tibetans in exile face. In the 1960s, the Indian economy hadn't taken off, and the first generation of exiled Tibetans lacked modern skills and had very limited choices for making a living.
딱 교부로 두 그릇 해야 되지 관계 뒤시에로마도 저도 인 가고 싫어라 봐. 아니 망골은 말로 있던데 망골을 야간주 콜라자다 팀 당일디 가도로 가도 돌아 예고병에로 손은 장여로 봐. 토시제 장가정이 제가 답변에게 부고도 장가정이 제 기계 좀 장가정으로 봐. 토납자다 쉬이도단 이구마 비록도 말 어디에 제 양고갈래 가서는 그 자디 주에 토시 미니니 디르제 강가 딘데 지거를 보라. 두시 거다. 나갈 보라 주두전에 미시미도
젠데 루체니 떨그와 떨체 딘데 돈에 밀로죠 메교다 딘데 팀마제 주모도 딘데 돈에 시교딘데 망고치 모레 아니 랑가 소살이야 왈 내가 쳐드는 간마 사드마 루체죠라 딘데 루체 딘데 마 대제 딘데 시교딘데 망고치 모레 다 간다 딘데 총에 쪼고디 딘데 돈데
Dawa Poonki is now the director at Delek Hospital, the largest hospital for exiled Tibetans in India. He grew up alongside his parents on road construction sites, and then moved to southern India with his parents to participate in the establishment of the first exiled Tibetan settlement.
아니 식나 상마 그냥 아주 파마조다 다나지 배워신다 참에 뚝제 식나도 뚝제 막 신가 사실수 강밖에 없었어요. 호딘데 지제 홍수 시절에 제 달로 먹을이야 남시 주보다 갈래 쉬우직 잡죠 제 갈래 쉬우지 요소상 배바도도 내가랑 가로 쉬우시다 아니 미슝기 칼카나원에디 두세 디는 후다바다 쉬우시고 요소상 아니 또 제도도 야고 메어체 남시에 서우 쉬우시 튼제 좀 쉬우시 다 된데 게베기 배워 막 쉬우시 총어래 튼주 튼숨 튼시 델리아 지슈니슈 지그슈를 직총어래 예빨라 년 총어래 에 로숨치 섭디라 디 슈구들이야 니 아마 심데다 데데 체체 아마 나체 야 아마 로직 총어래 아마 로숨 섭들 총어래 제상에 파마도 총어선자 딱 언제 디게 상으로 보고 숨을 하디서 내가 교식 차리라
신체유도 요 말데 나제유 멜 얘네 가도들 공부하다 배먹고들이 명망부율 뒤도 콘도로 보라지 신체단도 팔로 둘레 주더니 신기 따와네 강가파 버다 뒤리 봐도
Nudu Paldin, who was over 80 years old, was only 25 years old when he left Tibet. Having done jobs such as building roads and houses, he was drafted into the army and became a member of the Special Frontier Force. He was sent to the front line during the Indo-Pakistani War of 1971.
누구면가도 내 벌달마 자고 있는 게매 이게 오판싱세 조조를 콜레 이길을 대시슈리 아니 나도 도메스라 거리 엔 타마로 데이터 메게마가게 아니 달레라 막 자고로 지가 위는 나도 도이티마도 도메스라 그래 다 인도전에 에지 오마다 만주 공우디 참박한 대생들이 군이 따라서 페이지에 군들이야 아니 베게 당도 강에 두고 바 방라트 말에 뒤뒤를 당으로 취인디 저랑 그 가면에 동미도 도시인데 아니 저거 저기 다 내다는 강에 좀리 로고 맞은 뒤 말이 남의 용용이 강용용이 뒤에 같이난 도와 말 런드에 강용이 돼요 말이 가가 숙지에 돌아 타가가 돌을 뒤뒤질 자가기 몸이 뒤도 뒤세버릴 당한도 배대 그 민다 십주 생각 시스템도 심마솔 미시비시가 매었어요.
Although India-controlled Kashmir is a military-controlled area, Leh is a popular tourist destination. At 4:30 in the morning, the prayers of the mosque can be heard. At 8 o'clock in the morning, the early prayers of Tibetan Buddhism will begin. The Tibetan market in the center of Leh is a must-see for Western tourists. Tibetan wool textiles, especially hand-woven sweaters, carpets, shawls, and blankets, are very popular. But this business only lasts 4 to 5 months a year. In October, Tibetans will have to find another livelihood until the snow melts in May of the following year.
난 가시 공갈 랑가까도로 잘라 되세요 말아. 잘라 조네 고자니 들려요. 가시 한 잘라 동가 만도 총야가 군종 만두고로 어디래 가시 총어 동거 잘라서 아니 한 잘라 시대 조선에 뉴뉴차 한남이 통고차 진 잘라 된살 디 갸딩아도 레지스트인데
이거 커피인 거라. 그 바로 민인가 아니야 기술이.
Most second-generation Tibetan exiles can speak English. The thriving tourism industry in Leh has brought them new opportunities. However, due to the limitation of their status, Tibetans can only engage in service industries such as retail sales, tour guides, interpreters, and drivers. Income varies with the seasons and is unstable.
야구 중요해. 가야서는 믹스에게 배버 조인네 아니지. 겨울은 뭐 제가 공시송 된지 쭉고에 왜네. 아니 간줄라이디 대결디 라게요 말이 간줄 배배에 비찬 명도. 디나지 간줄 모터사와신 요거네. 근데 택시 라콜모 다디 요거에 왜네. 아니 디 레지스트레이션 디 대고 제야 된 간줄 명도요 말이. 종지 레벨 통에 이제 내게 고갑당 뭐 부여야 됐다. 근데 디나 관수 유민의 관수 현재 대수 시행당 낙제 요요 뭐부여리네 관수 내게 고갑당 대수 제라게요 말해 디 서우세장래
샤와샤 척두바이 바이바이 see you tomorrow.
In addition to employment, housing is unequal as well. After the economic boom in India, property prices in the remote areas originally allocated to Tibetans, especially the northern mountainous areas, were driven up by tourism. Exiled Tibetans without citizenship cannot own property and therefore cannot benefit from such economic development. Meanwhile, their limited living space is being encroached.
레라 타당봉 가서 레오 갑라 나주 비니바 나주 레브레 디디 사자탄다 미게 비두 건반두인디 사자 동바저 모디 가서 테브레 아니 나주 미스 동바 숨주 소나 숨주 섭데니 치베 디 레오다 아니 가서 리아 이네다 제주 제랑스네네 gem 초메브제 다디네 치스네 다 부서게 부서와기 그요레 미페루로 되길래 톱당 사자 톱당 아요 말 아니 제그비 치수에는 미 스페니아 산조트 조비나 디솔로게 사자게 되고말 어디들.
The resettlement site does not have more land, but the population continues to grow. Some Tibetans began to build houses in the open space on the outskirts of the site, but were met with resistance by local Indians. There was a row of houses in refugee camp number 1 that was knocked down and leveled.
Right in front of Camp 1, there's a big monastery run by local Indian Buddhist institutes. They can claim the land easily. They said, this is our land. And you just came too close, get away. And they blocked everybody. They flagged the places and they said, leave this place open, don't come in. There's no development happening in that place where they've been evicted. Of course, I have no way of proving the evidence, but the articles that I read, through the internet, it did say, there's no documents or there's no legal issues that backs up the story.
The report published in 2016 by the Tibet Justice Center, based in the United States, points to the Central Tibet Administration as the one responsible for the situation of the Tibetans in Leh. According to the report, the Tibetan settlements in Leh had signed a rental agreement with the local government of India in the 1960s, and the land was distributed to about 2,000 exiled Tibetans. However, the CTA did not retain a copy of this rental agreement. Today, land prices in Leh are soaring, and land encroachment is on the rise. Exiled Tibetans who hold neither land ownership nor lease contracts are extremely vulnerable and helpless. From 2010 to 2015, there have been about 500 incidents of encroachment on Tibetan land in Leh.
I think, in 1959, when everything was all agreed upon, they had a very good mutual understanding. And then, there's many decades, the local community doesn't like that.
I heard Ladakhis would often call Tibetans Khampo, meaning wanderers, homeless, no country, nothing. So they would kind of sometimes look down on us.
네, 자기 유미라 튀남 제거에 대한 건수초기 다 양내 양도 아니 배바죠 남도 팹도 그래. 다 배바 랑이네 지 되게 그걸 단다지 아니 뇨다서 되니다 되게 시우지요 말이 가있으나 다 아주 밀어 고야 망부차 변조로 약부차 망부차나 아니지 고주망하다 아니 제주사 같은 데를 이고 여러라 대무선산다 고안주 조와 딕섬마도 매우 선산 지 오늘 이루 신대에 지내는 유민양 대화 약부치 도스.
The sound of running tap water is the greatest music to the Tibetans' ears living in Sinjali. More than 120 households in the Tibetan community share 4 water taps. On average, water is available every 3 days for 10 hours at a time. This dark-skinned Nepalese youth was hired to help with carrying the water. When water is available, each household needs about 4 to 6 barrels of water. Most of the Tibetans living in Sinjali are the elderly and children. The 61-year-old Sewang Dorji has lived in Sinjali since he was 19. He met his wife here, had children here, and now has grandchildren here as well. For more than 40 years, the living environment of Tibetan community in Sinjali has remained basically unchanged, but the House of Sinjali is gradually deteriorating. The Tibetan area inhabited by Sewang Dorji is located on the outskirts of Shimla, the capital of Himachal Pradesh. It is the largest exiled Tibetan community in Shimla. Sinjali Street runs through the city and passes by the entrance of the Tibetan area. Right across the street is the Sinjali bus station. This blessing of a convenient location has become a curse now that Shimla is an emerging tourist destination. If you look from the opposite hill, this Tibetan area is hidden by various buildings of Sanjali. The most visible building is a parking lot under construction next to the Tibetan area. According to the plan of the Shimla local government, this parking lot will continue to expand, and the entire Tibetan area must be relocated. In the past 5 years, the two sides have been deadlocked over whether to move or not to move the Tibetans, where to move them, and how to compensate them.
It's really on a strategic place. Shimla Municipal Corporation has been trying to evict them for a very long time, actually. And it is the fight between the municipal corporation and these maybe 60, 70 families.
The water supply was thus cut off in the Tibetan community, and they were not allowed to repair their houses. Any hammering sounds were strictly prohibited.
Similburini, Chema, Lori Pura Nusantansa. Pura Koture. Two do not budget Tapsan, the Tapsan, Goliga Sweet Tapsan.
Jami, Nimatawa Tadawara, Nimatawa. Chansa Chapsan Sage. Suruji the one you must have to talk to her.
What up in the Momu, or never, the three. Chigimota, Chitatin, Chitande, Kimaja, Kinaja, the Fontani, the comedy. Pursue to woman. A Kujo to Langa Kigo, but on the Langa Kid, when you pay to judge. Langa Kid, Langa Suri, take me, Pomachiri and order, then Kaju. The Kuja Dio Mardagon persuasion, Kuja was chopping persuasion. I want to pipe to put here, pipe that swing period, non picture, chapter 20 shazari, pipe the stomach, and just.
The report published by the Tibet Justice Center in 2016 investigated the land dispute in Sanjauli. It was state land leased to the Tibetan community by the government of India for a term of 20 to 30 years, in which the term has expired. On August 19, 2010, an eviction order was sent to 125 Tibetan families living in Sanjali. Although the Shimla Municipal Corporation was also directed to propose a relocation of the Tibetan families, the state government did not provide the requisite funds for it.
Shungi Rolam Chi de Jimmy. Such a Shimate Saramara, the little teachers from the
tissue that Dransalam does as you want to me the Tinny that Kusukum, what does I? And Dransala. The jury counted on Pesa, the Kumotis, on Pesa della. I'm on Pesare. There's no patch over the children. Chego can jam together. What you can't live with the robot chego. You think you together door to meet him, Kaji Dore.
My ideals towards the Tibetan people have changed drastically after Shimla. Look at these people, they are completely isolated and completely thrown away by the CTA. And then there's hundreds of them who was not promised, like what the Dalai Lama said, or like what the CTA is saying. They say, they're working very hard for the Tibetan people, everybody in the colony, and nobody's left behind. There's so many people that I saw was left behind.
Kumbayaku Jatuda, Ali Patuchi, Modegi Duay, Simple Shulang Dots.
They were doing very chundu, very long use. Yes, Legati, non legable, Kang, what to do, non legati. 아무 난걸 줘. 지금 가봐도 다시 고스고스 공원을 지배를 하고.
로숨 비면 잠이
그걸로 좀 자오만. 근데 주위에 다리 같을 때좀 딱딱 눌렀어.
달로 두 깜짝 로숨 시야비 질샤이레 말에 때거지다. 라티디 첨부잔데 호스텔 불러 가발루게 도다 숑라 라이레다.
Even where the Dalai Lama's residence is, in the site of the Central Tibet administration, Upper Dharamsala has also been involved in land disputes. As early as 2012, Upper Dharamsala has received an expulsion order from the Shimla High Court, requiring residents, institutions, and shops in the area to move out before March 31st, 2013.
McLeodganj used to be a forest land. The government of India is very strict with forest land. Houses are demolished and they are kicked out from forest land. 210 families, if they are expelled, where would they go?
Although the eviction order was temporarily suppressed under the intervention of the Indian Ministry of Interior, land dispute was not resolved in Upper Dharamsala. According to an investigation conducted by the Tibet Justice Center, the Shimla government designated the area as forest land, even after decades of occupation and residence by the Tibetans, and at the same time continued to collect water and electricity fees as well as taxes from residents and institutions. What on earth caused expulsion order?
One Indian sued Supreme Court of India, saying that all the rocks are painted by these advertisements from different companies. We are nailing the trees to put out the prayer flags. So there was a misunderstanding. I attended the meeting also, and I said, okay, if we don't nail, if we put the how do you say, the sellotapes, the tapes, will that be okay? We actually don't nail the trees. We just tie the prayer flags, means it comes on a strings, a long string.
The only reason I see all this happening is jealousy. Many people prefer, Tibetans. Many people sympathize with Tibetans. They're hired more from the Western people, and they're more appreciated by the Western people.
Some of the sources that I have over there said they would press for, let's say, soccer match between Tibetans and Ladakhis. And they say this is not a good sign. They are looking for an excuse to beat you up.
Some local politicians, they politicize, and India is anyway a huge, huge country with all kinds of people. Some are really poor, no basic facilities for them. Of course, I feel very sorry for them, but it is not because of us.
On the first day of school, Wolser Dawa was going to drive his children to the boarding school in Leh, that is, to report to the Tibetan Children's Village. But in the end, to avoid trouble, he stopped the car outside the city and walked the children to their school. In order to improve the relationship with the locals, the Tibetan Children's Village also accepts Indian students. And because it is located on the Sino-Indian border, it is also open to students in the Njari prefecture of Tibet.
The population for the Tibetans arriving from Tibet, enrolling in TCV is decreasing. When we visited for our second research last year, we visited the refugee office in Leh, and we met one of the officers, and he said last year there's only one child that came from Tibet.
Summer vacation has ended just like that. The melancholy from leaving home is quickly replaced by the excitement of seeing friends. Everyone must work hard for a bright future in the new semester. In the beginning of 2018, Japanese director Tomio Ota received news from Fixer in Leh that the only Tibetan student in the Tibetan Children's Village in Leh has dropped out and returned to Tibet to study.